We're always told that a good education is the key to a good life. But what about a happy life? So, what we're going to dig into today is a pretty simple question. Does that diploma actually come with a happiness dividend? Okay, so this line from the poet Joseph Brodsky, it sounds a little grim, right? But it actually gets right to the heart of what we're talking about today. This tension between formal, book-smart knowledge and, the simple, beautiful, and kind of fleeting nature of life itself. So that really gets to the core of it, doesn't it? Let's just push aside what the job market says or what your parents want for just a second. We're asking, does getting that degree, that piece of paper, actually make us happier people? To explore this, we're going to follow the journey of happiness researcher Arthur C. Brooks. And he kind of offers a poet's warning of his own, because he started out really skeptical of higher education. He was a young musician, dropped out of college, and just felt that something essential about life was missing from all that formal learning. But, even with that skepticism, the data for a long time has pointed to what you might call a happiness dividend. The common wisdom, and it's backed up by a lot of research, suggests that education does pay off, not just in your bank account, but in your overall well-being. And look, this isn't just something we see in one country. Researchers have looked all over the world and found a pretty consistent pattern. When education levels go up, life satisfaction tends to go up with it. So on the surface, it looks like a total slam dunk. But here's the million-dollar question. Why? Right, and it's not just about a bigger paycheck, though that's definitely a piece of it. Researchers also point to these really powerful non-financial benefits, like a big boost in your self-confidence, your self-esteem, even your social standing. The source material calls something like a PhD a positional good. Think of it like the Ferrari of degrees. Just having it can make you feel pretty good, right? Okay, so case closed, right? Everybody go to college, get happy. Well, not so fast. This is where the whole story gets a lot more complicated. Because for a lot of people, that educational journey can really start to sour, and all those supposed benefits, they can just vanish. Yeah, one of the biggest happiness traps is this massive gap between expectations and reality. You spend years and a ton of money studying something you're passionate about, thinking it's your ticket to a great career. But the hard truth is, some fields, no matter how interesting or important they are, just don't pay very well. And that disconnect can be absolutely brutal. It can just poison the whole experience. And then, oh boy, we've got to talk about maybe the biggest happiness killer of them all, debt. The research here is crystal clear. Student loans are just awful for your mental health. That financial stress is directly linked to worse psychological well-being and even symptoms of depression. I mean, all that joy you got from learning, it can be totally wiped out by the stress of paying for it all. And you know what? There's another really simple truth here. The old school classroom setting, it just doesn't work for everybody. The author actually shares this quote from his own son, who flat out called it complete torture. We all learn in different ways, and trying to force someone into a one-size-fits-all system is a recipe for misery, not for learning. And if you're looking for proof that something's not quite right with this system, well, here you go. 1/3 of college students in the US drop out every single year. You really have to stop and ask, if college is this guaranteed path to happiness, why are so many people walking away? So, what do we do about all this? How do you navigate this minefield? Well, the author lays out a pretty simple 3-part framework to help you make a decision about your education that actually puts your happiness first. All right, here they are, pretty straightforward. Number 1, follow the ikigai of college. Number 2, avoid debt like the plague. And number 3, if you genuinely hate school, find the courage to take a different path. Okay, let's dig into what each of these really means. So, rule number 1, find your ikigai. It's this amazing Japanese concept. It basically means your reason for being. But in this context, it's all about finding that magic spot, that sweet spot, where what you love to do, what you're passionate about, also happens to be something the job market actually needs. It's about being smart with your passion, so you don't fall into that painful expectation trap. All right, rule number 2 is super blunt. Avoid debt. Seriously. This cannot be said enough. The author himself is the perfect example. When he finally went back to school in his late 20s, he had a family to support. He knew that taking on a mountain of debt would just crush their well-being. So what did he do? He found a distance learning program and got his entire degree for less than 10 grand. The point is, it can be done. And finally, rule number 3. This one's all about giving yourself permission. Permission to say, you know what? The traditional 4-year college path just isn't for me. And that is totally okay.
Right now, there's a massive shortage of skilled tradespeople in things like plumbing and electrical work. These are fantastic, totally respectable, and often super well-paying careers where you can be incredibly successful and happy without ever stepping foot in a lecture hall.
Okay, so this all brings us to one last really important idea. Maybe the big question isn't just if you should get an education, but when you should get it. And for that, let's go back to the author's own story one last time. Just look at this timeline. It's pretty revealing, right? At 18, school was a total drag for him. He got no joy from it. He just wasn't ready. But fast forward about a decade, and at 29, he's actually thrilled by it. He finds genuine happiness in everything from poetry to differential calculus of all things. See? For him, the timing was literally everything. And that brings us full circle, right back to our poet, Joseph Brodsky. It turns out that first line we read was just the setup. The poem actually ends with this question: what's the point of forgetting? Whoa, that completely flips the meaning on its head, doesn't it? It's not a critique of learning, it's a celebration of it. It's about holding on to the beauty and the knowledge we pick up along the way. So you see, the goal here isn't just about getting a piece of paper. It's about finding your way to keep learning, to stay curious, and to find that joy in knowledge on your own terms and on your own timeline, which really just leaves one final question for you to think about. What's your path?